Good afternoon. Yesterday I told you about this analysis of time series. In that, we are going for this. We had gone for this calendar variations. After calendar variations, we'll come across population changes. So whenever the population, when it is increasing, year after year, naturally you'll come across some variations and changes. So taking into account the time period, we have to see what is the growth rate of population, what is the increase of population, and what is the decrease of population. So what do you mean by increase of population and what do you mean by decrease of population? When the birth rate, when it is more than the death rate, automatically we can say that the population is increasing. When the death rate is more than birth rate, we can say that there is a change in population, that is the population is decreasing. When you go for this pandemic situation at present, so many people were dying by corona virus, COVID-19. So this thing, taking into account the number of death rate, the number of deaths compared to number of birth rates. Okay, so what we will come across is we'll come across a change in population. So we have to take into account the years. We have to take into account from which year to which year. It is the pandemic situation started in 1919 and it continued for 1920 and 21, 2020 and 2021. Still, okay, according to predictions of some well-known persons, it will continue up to 23rd, 2023. So thereby, you will come to know about the population variations and the population changes. What is the number, what is the birth rate, and what is the death rate? Here, if you take into account the death rate is more than the birth rate. Okay, when you take into account the newspapers, whatever it may be, the social media. So everywhere people are telling that this many the number of deaths in the state or in the country. So like this, whenever you come across, automatically you'll come across population changes. So thereby, you will come to know about the variability as well as the trend analysis. Okay, population. Certain types of data call for adjustment for population changes. To adjust data for population changes, a very simple procedure is followed. That is, the data are expressed on a per capita basis by dividing the original figures by the appropriate population totals. Per capita income. Per capita income is nothing but per head income. When you take into account the per capita income of India, it is very, very less compared to others. Because taking into account the population, okay, the population and growth of population, the per capita income, it is very, very less. When the per capita income is very, very less, automatically the development also we can say that it will be very less. When you take into account some other countries, the per capita income is more. Why? Because the population, whatever it may be, the gross total income or net total income that we come across, if we divide that with the total population, then automatically the population over there, it is very, very less limited. So when it is limited, automatically the per capita income is more. And thereby we can say that the development will be more over there. So it depends mainly on per capita income or per head income. So this is one thing that we come across. Next, price changes. So what are price changes? Okay. When the commodity is demanded by the people, automatically the sellers, what they will do is, in order to mint money, in order to mint profit, they will increase the prices. They will increase the prices. Okay, when they are increasing the prices means automatically the demand for the product, it will come down. And when you take into account the supply, Supply, it is directly related to price amount. Okay, supply is related directly to price. When supply increases, price increases. When supply decreases, price decreases. And one thing you have to keep here also, that is the relationship between demand and price. The relationship between demand and price is nothing but inverse relationship. When the price of a commodity, when it is increasing, the demand for the product or demand for the commodity, it will decrease. Okay. When you come across the price, when it is very, very less, when it is coming down, automatically the demand will be more. So, but you have to take into account the interaction of the demand force as well as supply force. And you have to go for an equilibrium point, and where that price, where you come across this equilibrium point, we'll call that thing as equilibrium price. But, okay, at present, what is happening, sir? When you take into account the last year, in lockdown period, the prices are very, very less. The prices are very, very less. And after removal of the lockdown, all of a sudden the prices raised like anything. And when you come across the present situation, here, even though there is lockdown or there is no lockdown, whatever it may be, the prices are high, they are increasing. Why? Because the sellers, they came to understand that if we raise the price, people automatically, they'll come and purchase. There is no other alternative. They'll come and they'll, in order to increase their immunity, okay, they have to purchase. They have to purchase. So what they will do is, this is the position, this is the time, okay, that we can mint money. Like that, people, they are thinking and they are increasing the prices. For example, if you take into account a small example, I'm not going to give a big example, I'm going to give a small example. What is the price of egg? An egg previously, it is just 3 rupees or maximum 4 rupees. But at present, if you take into account the price of an egg, it is 7 rupees. Why? People, they came to understand. People, they came to understand this is the situation that we have to mint money, we can, okay, grab money from the people, because it is compulsory. It is nothing but the pandemic situation. And this thing, this product, it is going to increase their immunity. People, they came. That is, they are beware of, okay, what is going to happen. Okay, compulsory, people, they will come and purchase this product. And that's why we are charging more. So price changes. An adjustment for price changes is necessary whenever we have a value series and are interested in quantity changes alone. Since value is equal to price per unit multiplied by the number of units sold, the effect of price changes can be eliminated by dividing each item in a value series by an appropriate price index. You have to go for this. Okay, price index, value series, whether it is valuable or not. Yes, it is valuable. When you come across that thing, automatically prices will increase. Since value is equal to price per unit multiplied by the number of units sold, the effect of price changes can be eliminated by dividing each item in a value series by an approximate price index. Approximate price index, not appropriate, approximate price index. We have to take into account the price index, and you have to. So, sir, how we can, when you go for index numbers, you'll come across this price index. What is the current price? What is the base year price? Okay, how the prices are increasing, all these things will come to understand when we go for index numbers. And with that price index, when we divide, automatically you'll come across the changes, fluctuations in the prices. Next, comparability. Okay, whatever it may be, the data that we have to compare with other data. Okay, so that comparability, there should be. Unless otherwise there is no comparability, you cannot come to know what are the different changes and what is the position that we come across in one situation or at one point of time. Okay, for any meaningful analysis of time series, it is necessary to see that the data are strictly comparable throughout the time, okay, period under investigation. This thing is very, very important. When you want to know what is happening, compulsory you have to go for comparability. And that comparability is of a particular time. That is, we have to take into account the time period and the prices and the population changes. All these things we have to take into account, then we have to compare each and everything. So thereby you'll come to know about the changes that is coming across. Okay, now methods of analysis of time series. What are the different methods that we come across? When you go for this methods of time series, we are having four methods. What are the four methods that we come across? Freehand or graphic method. Freehand or graphic method. That is one of the important things that we'll come across. And second one is semi-averages method. Third one is moving averages method. And the fourth one is method of least squares. Like this, you'll come four methods for understanding this analysis of time series. Now, freehand or graphic method. This is the simplest method of studying trend. Here, when we go for one thing, I want to tell you. Here, when we are going for this time series analysis, what is the main thing that will come across? The main thing that we have to compute is nothing but the trend. What is the trend? Okay, at a given data, what is the trend of the line that we come across? Okay, how we can estimate, how we can predict tomorrow. Okay, that is most important. And this thing, it depends upon the time series. Mind it. Don't be of that opinion that we won't take into account the time. We have to take into account the time period, and according to the time period, we have to see what are the things that are going to happen in future. That is prediction of the coming period. Okay, this is the simplest method of studying trend. The procedure of obtaining a straight line trend by this method is given below. Okay, first one is plot the time series on a graph. Time series, that is what is the time and what is the data, numerical data, statistical data given at that period of time. Examine carefully the direction of the trend based on the plotted information. You see, trend means change. One word, in simple words, we can take that as change. Okay, so in this case, you can take an example. In olden days, people, they used to use, or the male persons, they used to go for lungi or pancha. Okay, they used to go and they used to think that it is good. And after that, narrow cuts. After that, bell bottoms. After that, elephant bell bottoms. After that, okay, baggies. After that, okay, normals. Like that, the change, it is coming. The change, the trend is changing day by day, year by year. So when the fashions, when they are changing, we have to take that. And according to the fashions and according to the day, desirability of the people, you have to go. Don't be of that opinion that you have to follow the old methods. Even the oldest people also nowadays, they are going for this. And the present trend is wearing 3/4. People, okay, they are not taking into account their age, please. Okay, if it is a 7 years kid, and if he wear this 3/4, okay, well and good, because he is a kid. But here it is not like that. Even a 70 years old man also is wearing the 3/4 and is coming and is roaming on the roads as if nothing is is there. But they won't feel that, "Arey, this is not the correct way, this is not the way that we have to roam." Okay, you die whatever in whatever manner in your house. But when you are coming out, when you are roaming on the road, when you are going to office or any function or anything, you have to be very cautious that I have to wear a good dress. People, they are not thinking about that. Who will see? Like that, they are thinking and they are coming with 3/4 size dresses. And when you go for this, ladies, the trend also it is changing day by day. The trend is also changing day by day, and we don't know what is going to happen in the future. They thought that this wearing of clothes is unnecessary and they're going to be like Australian streakers. So this is not the way. But thing is, people, they are going for this trend and they want to follow that in the future course of time. So we have to see the direction of the trend, in what direction it is going. That is most important. Next, draw a straight line which will best fit to draw according to personal judgments. You have to draw a straight line. Okay, you have to draw a straight line and see. Okay, which will best fit to the data according to personal judgments. You have to take into account the personal judgment. Okay. Next, semi-averages method. When this method is used, the given data is divided into two equal parts, preferably with the same number of years. After the data have been divided into two parts, an average of each part is obtained, getting 2 points. Each point is plotted at the midpoint of the class interval covered by the respective part, and then the 2 points are joined by a straight line, which gives us the required trend line. This line can be extended downwards or upwards to get intermediate values or to predict future values. This is the thing that we'll come across when we go for semi-averages method. You have to take into account the given information and you have to divide that into two equal parts. You have to divide and you have to take the average, and that average you have to take into in the middle of the three. For example, 7 years were given. Okay, you have to divide equally 3, and middle one you have to leave. So these first 3 years average you have to take, second 3 years average you have to take, and in the first means in the first part, whatever it may be, the middle year, there you have to take that value and average and you have to plot. Everything is in a graphical manner. Don't be of that opinion that it will be in a diagrammatical manner. It will be in a graphical manner, only it will come. And you have to take into account all these averages and you have to plot that 2 points you will come across, and these 2 points you have to join and you have to extend that downwards and upwards. Thereby you will come to know whether the trend, or in order to know the future values, whether this straight line will help us or not. That is about semi-averages method. After semi-averages method, we are going for the moving averages. Here, in moving averages, 3 yearly moving averages, 5 yearly moving averages, 7 yearly moving averages, like that they'll come. And when you come across even number also, you have to go for moving averages, like 2 yearly moving averages, 4 yearly moving averages, 6 yearly moving averages, like that you'll come across. Okay, when in that case, you have to see whether the moving average is of odd number or even number. When you go for odd number, it is okay. But when you go for even number, again you have to adjust. Again you have to adjust. That is the most important thing that people, they have to understand in this. Okay. Even number of years. When there are even number of years like 6, 8, 10, etc., 2 equal parts can easily be formed and an average of each part of 10. However, when the average is to be centered, there would be some problem. Okay, so here you have to take into account. So how is this thing? Okay, when you want to go for even number, okay, even number averages, there same procedure you have to follow. That is, you have to divide the given portion into two equal parts, and again you have to double that. Suppose if you come across, okay, 4 yearly moving average, you have to take into account, and again you have to convert that into 2 yearly moving totals and 2 yearly moving averages, and you have to take into account. So that is the main thing that we have to observe. Next, moving averages. When a trend is to be determined by the method of moving averages, the average value for a number of years is secured, and this average is taken as a normal or trend value for the unit of time falling at the middle of the period covered in the calculation of the average. So you have to take this thing. You have to take every time the average, and you have to take into account the middle of the year, and you have to draw. While applying this method, it is necessary to select a period for moving average as 3 yearly moving average, 5 yearly moving average, okay, 8 yearly moving average, etc. The period of moving average is to be decided in the light of the length of the cycle. The moving average method is most commonly applied to data which are characterized by cyclical movements, cyclical fluctuations, and cyclical variations. There you will come across this moving average. When you go for secular trend, other things, okay, semi-average method is used. But when we go for cyclical variations, compulsory you have to follow this moving averages. The moving average method is most commonly applied to data which are characterized by cyclical movements. It is necessary to select a period from moving average which coincides with the length of the cycle. Otherwise, the cycle will not be entirely removed. Okay, you cannot remove this. Okay, cyclical fluctuations, how the cyclical fluctuations are there. According to that only you have to move, but you cannot stop. When you stop that, automatically finding of the trend values, you cannot be in a good position to calculate. Okay, so this is about moving averages, and after that we'll come across the least squares method. Okay, to find the trend value. Okay, all the semi-averages and moving averages, when they are not suitable, then the ultimate source is nothing but going for method of least squares. When you go for the method of least squares, okay, you have to think that whatever it may be the computed value, okay, the total of the total difference of the original value and the computed value, when you take into account, that must be least. Okay, that must be the least thing. Then only you can be in a position to find. And when you go for a straight line, okay, when you go for preliminary studies or high school studies, when you want to go for graph, people, they used to tell about a straight line, and there is a formula for that. Y is equal to mx plus c. That is the formula. Okay, so m stands for magnitude and c stands for the direction of the line, straight line. So y here, y is a dependent variable on x. So whatever it may be the value of x, okay, depending upon x value, the y value will be determined. So this is about this thing, and tomorrow we are going to study about this method of least squares, which must be concentrated completely, because completely this is nothing but a calculation method. Okay, you come across some formulae and you have to think about that. Thank you.